So you're also going to be doing enrichment isolations. And what I want you to get out of the enrichment isolations really is understand what each of the media are, why they're enriching for what they are enriching for, what's in them that allows certain things to grow, other things not to grow, how you're incubating them, how you're treating the sample. Basically understand what enrichment is and know the difference between, for instance, a selective medium and a differential medium. That's very important for all of these. Now I won't go through and demonstrate each of these like your favorite, the rectal swab for E. coli. You can read those and figure those out. But again, it points out that you wouldn't go to get an organism that lives in the lower intestinal tract in ice cream or in a box of Skittles. You have to go to the site, and the site in this case is the lower intestinal tract of mammals. For Bacillus and Clostridium, nothing hugely important there other than to heat up your samples and realize, keep track of what you're doing and which sample you're using for what. You can give Chris and I the Clostridium samples and we'll show you how we're going to incubate them anaerobically. Azotobacter, the only thing I want to demonstrate with Azotobacter or any of these isolations is this process called peppering. So here's my soil sample, my supposed soil sample, and here's my Ashby's plate. Now when I say pepper, you do this with Azotobacter and with Myxos, I literally mean dropping a little bit on the surface of the plate so that you have a few little bits of soil on there. I don't know if you can see this, but there isn't a lot on there, and yet there's plenty, and that's a peppered plate. So you can use that for, at least for Myxos and Azotobacter when you come to it. The other isolation that's a little different is the Myxobacteria. Now, one, you're just going to pepper soil onto the surface of a nutrient broth agar plate, but the other, you use this baiting procedure with dung. So here is some deer pellets that have been autoclaved. You could touch these, you probably eat these and they wouldn't be a problem. And here is a plate that is poured with some water agar. It's still liquid, which is important, so I use sterile technique to do this. I now want to place 3 or 4 of these little dung pellets into this and let them solidify. So what I would do is take some forceps, probably dunk them in some ethanol, flame this. I come in and I pick up my little dung pellet and I just literally drop it into the agar. And it will sit there, and the only thing you have to do is make sure that it doesn't sink completely and that when you put a bunch of them in, they don't all stick together. What you want to do is leave it in there, and when the plate solidifies, you'll have part of the dung pellet above the surface and part below. Once that's all solidified, you can then go ahead and sprinkle and pepper just like we talked about.